We're doing the arm swings to squats. So you want to bring your arms back all the way to the top. Deep breath. Here you want to bring your legs down into that squat, bring it back up. If your heels come up, that is fine. We just want to bring some blood to the legs and get the arms moving. If you open up a little bit wider, maybe those heels will stay down. We'll be doing the arm swings to forward bend. You want to bring the arms all the way up. Deep breath, bring them forward. Touch that ground or as far as you can and bring them back up. You want to kind of let yourself go and just hang on top of those legs as you're coming down and bringing it back up. Leg swings to reverse lunge. So I like to use opposite leg, opposite hand. I'm going to flag out my hand, kick it, and then bring it down into a slow lunge. I want you to keep a little bit of a bend here to do that kick. Because if I were to extend my leg all the way, it would be hard to balance. So keep a little bit of a bend on the knee here to stabilize, do that kick. You might also feel a little bit of a crunch. That is really good to kind of try to engage the core as you're doing this. Switching sides. Obviously, once you get to that 8 or 10 rep, the oblique mountain climbers. So we want to start off in the tabletop position, bringing our legs behind us. For this position, we want to bring the leg straight to the elbow and then kick it back. One thing you want to make sure is that your shoulder blades are behind you and you're on top of those hands. If you're looking like this, that's a little bit too far. So make sure you're nice on top of those wrists. Bringing the leg out, squeezing it into the elbow. I'm holding it here. Trying to adjust my posture as I'm working here. You have to be mindful of that posture throughout the movement so you could keep the obliques working the way you want them to work. I try to adjust myself every time I start a next rep. Heel elevated squat press. I don't have another weight, so I am going to use any heavy object that I can find in my house, which these little wooden guys are actually pretty heavy. But we're gonna hold it up to our chest, bring our shoulders back, make sure our toes are facing out. And I wanna make sure my hips are in and my knees come out as I squat. What this is gonna do is engage my quads a little bit more, squeezing the glutes to come back up. So you're making sure that your back is nice and safe. So coming down. Now adding that press will come together into this movement. 2. You don't have to go as low as I do. You could come up to the 90% or maybe somewhere to the 45%. Work at your pace. Don't try to go as low as I do. Work to your practice. So you could come up to that 90 and it's just as valid. Work to your limits for now and then work your way to getting deeper and deeper with that squat at a controlled pace. Nordic reverse supinated curls. What we want to do is make a tripod shape with our legs, making the knees be as wide as the shoulders, and the feet are touching together behind you. Now you want to make sure that the hands are facing out. So you don't want to curl this way. You actually want to curl with the hands going all the way out. Lean back just slightly and then bring it together while bringing your core back into an upright position. So leaning back, extending the hands. Deep breath. Exhale. 2, 3. Around the world RDLs. So you want to make sure that you're stepping with all your weight on that front foot. I like to put the weights in front of me. And then with this back foot, you're just kind of stabilizing. And what you want to do is kind of push your hips back to then squeeze the glute and bring them forward as you bring the weights up in a circular motion. So you're coming down, 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 letting yourself hang over your leg, pushing the hips back. And then you're squeezing the glute forward to come up and bring the hands up at the same time. Coming down, controlling it, and squeeze. What the hamstring is, it is the back part of your leg here. I'm going to show you from the back. The hamstring stretches and you squeeze it to come up. So you're squeezing the glutes as well. The bear crawl squats to push-ups. You want to start in the tabletop position. Bring up the knees. I like to keep the toes kind of close and bring the knees a little bit wider. So out, if you need to bring the knees down, coming down, pushing out, back into that squat. Coming down, pushing out. Lunge to bicep curl, supinated. So placing one foot in front and then one just about a foot back. And make sure the shoulders are together. Don't try to squeeze them up. Instead, bring them back and then down. At this point, we turn the hands out, taking a deep breath, making sure we're trying to stay as straight as possible for our torso, and then squeeze everything back up. I'm gonna hold it here, slowly down, 2. Hold it here, slowly down, 3, 4. Oblique crunch. So you want to extend the legs out. If you need the support or you're trying to make this a little bit easier, you want to have the back leg come up and support you this way, so that then you can crunch the oblique by touching the ground, kind of twisting here, and then picking it up by crunching the side. So coming back down, up, coming back down, up. If you think you can handle that, just holding it like this. You want to make sure that this arm is right under the shoulder. So right there, I can make this even better of a crunch. Weighted Russian twist. What I like to do is make sure that these weights are aligned. That makes it just a little bit easier to hold on to a little bit more weight here. And what I want to do is I want to twist as far as I can, trying to engage kind of like my back at this point, and then bring it all the way around. And do the same thing here where I'm trying to twist as far as I can before I come back. That'd be 1 rep. All the way through. 2. And then pick up the pace as you find yourself getting more and more comfortable, reaching that end point that is pretty far back, kind of hard to hold here before I go back. The more you extend your legs, the harder this is going to be. So if I'm up here, it's going to be a little bit easier as to if I was going to extend the legs and use more of my core engagement. The kneeling squat to wrist curl. So bringing out the arms, making sure that we're in the tripod position by placing the feet together and the knees just shoulder width apart. Coming down is the base of the motion. I would like to start off right here at the top, kind of curling my wrists as I come down, releasing those wrists and squeezing it back down. essentially, I'm trying to move the wrists all the way in and then bring them all the way out. Finish out with our stretch. Bring our hands all the way to the top, forward bending to the ground, grabbing onto our elbows, kind of hanging off of our hips here, moving side to side, balancing slowly as you move side to side. Trying to go all the way to the side until I kind of crunch my side before I move over to the other side. Then I'll place the hands on the mat, extending my legs and hands out so I can retract my back, get myself kind of on a triangle position here. My heels are slightly elevated, and I'm gonna just raise one heel and put all the weight on one side of my body. And then switch sides, placing all the weight on the other heel as I breathe. Each time I'm trying to bring my chest a little bit closer to my legs. Slowly I want to come all the way forward, bringing my hips forward into the ground. Going into the cobra pose, making sure that my shoulders are retracted back. If you are kind of holding onto your shoulders like this, try to push your shoulders down, looking off to one side until you're looking behind you, looking off to the other side until you're looking behind you. Bringing the hips all the way back, going into the child's pose. Bringing the hips up, aligning the knee to the hip, and walking the hands forward to then come down. Slowly coming back up into the tabletop position, making sure that the hands and shoulders are aligned. You're going to weave one hand through the other, placing the shoulder on the ground, extending the head forward so that you can lay the back of the head on the mat. And then you're going to bring the arm around your body, reaching for the lower back. We're trying to look behind us and up at the sky. And when you're ready, you're going to place that hand back on the mat to then bring your body back up into the tabletop position so that you can switch sides. Weaving that hand through, placing the shoulder on the ground first, extending the head forward, looking up at the sky, bringing your arm around us, reaching for that lower back. Taking that deep breath, trying to twist the body a little bit more after I exhale. Slowly bring that hand back to the ground, pushing yourself back up into the tabletop position. Bringing the weight forward, bringing one leg between the hands, extending that back leg behind you, slowly coming down onto the forearms, maybe resting the head on the hands, allowing yourself to melt in this position. Maybe move the hips side to side a little bit just to feel that rotation of the hip. Slowly come back up into the hands. Pick yourself up lightly so that then you can switch sides, bringing the other knee between the hands, making sure you're good and adjusted here so that then you can bring the elbows down to the ground. Placing the head on the hands. Allowing yourself to go side to side, feeling the hip a little bit more. Don't try to press too hard. Just let yourself go as forward as your body lets you. Slowly pick yourself back up. Bring that leg behind us. Going into the downward dog one more time. Flowing forward into the high plank. Opening up the scapulas. Bringing it back down onto the knees. Bending the back. Arching the back. Going into the cat. And then pushing out. Opening up into the cow. Breathing through these two positions. Last one. Go on to the back. So completely lay down onto our mat. Bringing the knees up to the chest. Bringing the hands up to our sides. Bringing the hands above the head by touching the back of the palm onto the mat. Making sure that our back is aligned on the ground. Bringing it back up. You want to make sure that those knees are up so that your back can completely flatten out onto the mat. You're going to definitely feel this in your mid back. This is really good if you struggle with your posture and struggle with bringing those shoulders back in without engaging the traps. The traps would be the muscles up here. So you're bringing those shoulders down as we're coming in, and then closing up those scapulas behind us as we're coming up. Last one. Bringing the hands and the legs up. I'm going to bring one ankle to the knee, pulling that leg closer. Release. Switching sides. Release. Coming all the way down. One rotation with the hips until you're all the way down. Laying down with the hands to the sides. Lifting one leg. Bringing it all the way to the side. If you need to bend that leg to feel a little bit more control, you could do that. Or keep the leg extended. Bringing it back in through a rotation and then back down. Lifting the other leg. Going off to the side. I try to look off to the opposite side to get more of a twist. Bringing that rotation back all the way down and relax. Extend hands to top. Point the toes. And relax. This is the end of our stretch. Thank you so much for joining me for our class today. I hope you guys have a wonderful workout. I believe in you. Get moving.